officially been 1 month since J. Cole released his 7th studio album titled The Fall Off. Now, I want to get straight into my final overall review of the album, where I rank it all time in J. Cole's discography, and even more, where would I rank it amongst the all-time great hip-hop albums. Welcome back to the Voiceovers Podcast. I'm 24K Logan. Now, of course, this is a double disc album, 24 total tracks, and I can confidently say that I am going back to listen to at least 20 out of 24 tracks on a consistent basis. And at this point, I've listened to the entire album from start to finish for at least 20 times. And there is no exaggeration on that. I've listened to The Fall Off at least 20 times, maybe even 30, if I'm being completely honest. And out of the 24 tracks, my 10 favorite, in no particular order, will be Who the Fuck Is You, Bunch Road Blues, The Villist, 39 Intro, 2-6, The Fall Off Is Inevitable, Legacy, Life Sentence, Poor Thing, Quick Stop. An honorable mention would be What If. I know a lot of people had mixed feelings on that song. Some people loved it. I was one of those people. Some people hated it. Hey, it is what it is. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion. But when I go through this track list after so many different listens, I've listened to it from start to finish. I've also listened to it loosely, in a car ride, just playing random songs or my most favorite. I do believe that this will go down as the greatest rap album of the year 2026. And quite honestly, I'm ready to crown this at least the second best rap album of the 2020s decade. Yes, I'm putting it in that conversation with the Forever Story. I'm putting it in the conversation of Mr. Morale. I think that this is, bare minimum, the second best rap album of the current decade, the 2020s. Now, that might sound a bit biased for me, considering J. Cole is my favorite rapper of all time. If you've been on this channel before, you know how big of a J. Cole fan I am and how much I was anticipating The Fall Off and what my expectations were. And I can quite honestly say that my expectations were met. I mean, to be honest, I wasn't even that sure that he was going to find ways to pay homage to Fayetteville and make this a kind of a regional album to some degree while still making it nationwide or worldwide, right? Worldwide appeal. And I say regional album because let's just think about this, right? The first disc 29, you can call it disc 1, that is him talking about the Forest Hills Drive era, him returning home to Fayetteville during those times, and things that he went through, what his love life was like. He was even reflecting on the past before the Forest Hills Drive era. That is what the concept of disc 1 was, how he was battling that fame and handling all the fame after returning home to his hometown. Obviously, a song like 2-6, if you're from Fayetteville, you should know what 2-6 is. I mean, if you're from the Carolinas in general, you probably know what 2-6 is, but it's hard for me to believe that there's anybody in Fayetteville that's 18 or older and doesn't know what the 2-6 is, right? And then he has a song like The Villist. He has Bunch Road Blues. And Bunch Road is a actual road located in Fayetteville, North Carolina. That is probably what I appreciated the most about The Fall Off, especially being a North Carolina native myself. Oh, and let's not forget on Old Dog, which is another favorite of mine, featuring P.D. Pablo, another North Carolina hip-hop legend. That is what I appreciated the most out of this album, is how he paid homage to North Carolina through so many different references. Obviously having P.D. Pablo on there, somebody that was in the game way before J. Cole was, and how he represented North Carolina. And J. Cole just took that to another level, out of this world. That is what I appreciated the most about this album. Another reason why I would say that my expectations were met is because the lyricism. And that is probably one of the reasons why Who the Fuck Is You is my favorite song on the album, was because of the bars that were being dropped. The wordplay, of course, the Deuteronomy line, the way how he was able to keep using that word, that rhyme scheme, that pronunciation over and over and over for like half a verse damn near. That just shows how much of a peak level of lyricism J. Cole is in right now, and where he's been for the last 7 to 8 years, right? It just seems like since 2018, every year he's gotten better as a lyricist, just as a pure rapper, putting words together, bar for bar, rhyme for rhyme, punchline for punchline. I mean, you can't get any better than that. I mean, of course, there's a few people that you can argue being a better lyricist, but I think J. Cole will stand his own against any rapper right now. And obviously, I'm not getting into the beef. I'm not talking about battling. I'm just strictly focusing on the art of lyricism, the art of emceeing, the art of rapping. I'm not talking about a beef. I quite honestly don't care about it. And if you're still talking about the beef in 2026, you need to figure life out. That's all I'm gonna say. But moving on, my only criticisms of the album, and I don't have many, the song Run a Train. J. Cole, while his rapping was elite on the song, if I'm being just 100% honest, the hook. I did not like Future's hook. I did appreciate Future on Bunch Road Blues along with Tim's, who sounded beautifully. But on Run a Train, that just did not work for me. The Let Out. Now, The Let Out is actually a song that has grown on me. But when it first came out, I was like, where's Cole going with this? Like, what is the purpose of this song? But it has grown on me. Sadly, I think that song is going to become a meme. It'll be replayed, but I think will we survive the let out? Will we survive the like that will turn into a meme, and that could be a good thing. I don't even want to say sadly, but I felt that those two songs didn't really belong on the track, and they might grow on me throughout time. But as of right now, I care for the Let Out more than I care for Run a Train, even though the rapping on Run a Train was far superior compared to what it was on the Let Out. And that's not saying anything bad about the Let Out's rapping, by the way. Now, where would I rank this album amongst double albums? I think at the very worst it's top 5. I'm not ready to put it over All Eyes on Me or Life After Death. To be honest with you, those are two albums that had, especially All Eyes on Me, those are two albums, All Eyes on Me and Life After Death. Both of those albums have very strong arguments to be top 10 all time. I have All Eyes on Me top 5. I have Life After Death anywhere between 10 and 20. I'll just say that. And The Fall Off, as much as I enjoyed the album, just right off the dome, I'm pretty sure I can name 20, maybe even 30 rap albums all time that I would put above The Fall Off. Now, my opinion could change as time goes on, but as for right now, I think The Fall Off would be anywhere from top 75 to top 50, within that range. I know for a fact this is a top 100 rap album of all time. I think it's earned that right quickly. I mean, the impact, you cannot deny it. 280,000 first week sales, and at least 100,000 of those sales were pure sales. And that's another thing that I wanted to talk about, the impact, not just the sales, but we see how J. Cole went to at least 10 different cities selling CD copies of The Fall Off out of his trunk, kind of paying homage to his old days when he was driving around in a Honda Civic selling copies of his first mixtape, and then you fast forward it almost 20 years later and he's doing the same for The Fall Off. And we see the demand. We see his interaction with fans, J. Cole fans, and just your everyday normal hip hop fan. We see people on camera crying because of how he's impacted their lives through his music, right? We see fans sharing life stories about what his music has done for them. This is human interaction that we're talking about. We're not talking about, I know some of y'all like to say bots, which that's another conversation for another day, but we're talking strictly human interaction, face-to-face interaction between a rapper and a rap fan, a rapper and his fan base. That is impact. From what we've seen on camera, that is impact. 110, or not 110, but 100,000, at least 100,000 pure sales in 2026. That is a big deal. If that's not impact, I don't know what impact is. The last thing that I wanted to get into, if this is J. Cole's last and final album, I'm truly satisfied. I think that this album, not only did it bring his entire career together full circle in one big box, but I think J. Cole is at peace with what he's done. I can't speak for him, but just me as a lifelong J. Cole fan, and as someone who has studied hip hop, especially followed J. Cole's career, and seeing him go from the days of Friday Night Lights to where we are now, The Fall Off, I'm just not convinced that he's not at peace. I truly believe that J. Cole is at peace with everything that he's done in his career. And if this is his last and final studio album, while some people don't agree, the general consensus, at the worst, this is a damn good album. You might not put it top 10, top 20 all the time. You might not want to crown it a classic yet, although I think in about a year, we're going to have different conversations, because I definitely think this will age into a classic album. This was a perfect way for J. Cole to go out. Now, I would love to get more J. Cole music. I know It's a Boy is still a possibility. I know that this Fall Off tour is his first world tour in like 9 years, at least 5. I don't think this is the last that we've seen of J. Cole as a artist completely. But I do think there's a strong possibility that The Fall Off is his last and final studio album. I think It's a Boy is some other concept or mixtape or EP that J. Cole just wants to give to his fans. You know, kind of like a care package thing, right? But again, if this is J. Cole's last and final studio album, this was the perfect way for him to go out. From paying homage to his home state of North Carolina, his roots, where he come from, to going back to his old days of driving around in a Honda Civic, selling copies of the CD out of his trunk, having a bare minimum of 100,000 pure sales in his first week, along with what he did from a digital standpoint, and the human interaction that we've seen between him and his fans. I think this was the perfect way for him to go out. And if J. Cole decides to call it quits, well done. Well done. But that'll be all for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let us know what you think about The Fall Off down in the comment section. Do you think it's J. Cole's best album? Where do you rank it in his discography? Where would you rank it amongst the all-time great hip-hop albums? And do you think that The Fall Off will age into a classic? We got more content on the way. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, peace and love to everybody.